Past the Guardians 9-5. Christian Yelich hit a walk-off grand slam at the bottom of the 10th as the Brewers beat the Red Sox 5-1. The Reds beat the Royals 7-2. Former Royal Brady Singer got the win. He allowed 2 runs on 7 hits over 7 innings. Ellie De La Cruz hit a pair of solo homers for Cincinnati. The Cardinals handed the Orioles a 7-4 loss. Nolan Arenado hit a tie-breaking homer in the 8th, snapping Baltimore's season-high 3-game winning streak. The Rangers shut out the Blue Jays 2-0. A big 11-1 win for the Astros at home over the A's. Hunter Brown struck out 8 for Houston. Jose Altuve had 4 hits, including 2 homers. The A's have lost 12 of 13. In 11 innings, the Cubs got by the Rockies 4-3. Michael Busch and Matt Shaw hit run-scoring singles in the 11th. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MOVE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MOVE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
You don't have to sink a 30-footer from the end of your driveway to come out of the NBA playoffs smelling like a rose. Sports Grid brings you all the angles, insights, and odds.
And more to make you a winner.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the 2 best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, let's not know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the Sports Grid Radio Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
Oh yeah, the best hour every day now officially is underway. It is Moneyline. Yes. Solo mission for your boy DRS. Off yesterday from radio because I was in the studio. Same thing could be said tomorrow as well. Long trek in the morning. So Kevin will be on a solo mission tomorrow. I'll be back for another solo mission on Friday. We always got the people covered out here. If you're watching live on Restream on our Sports Grid on-demand account here on YouTube, Aaron's in here. Go Fast Troy's in here. We're ready to do it. We're going to talk a lot of Major League Baseball today. A profitable night last night. Had 6 RBI props. 3 of those RBI props came in, which is all plus money. We put them in a round robin. A nice night all the way around. We'll get to that card today. And if it's any indication of what it is here in the Northeast, I don't know where you guys are listening from, but it is cold and it is rainy. And I don't know if we're going to be playing baseball in Philadelphia tonight for the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll get to all of that and much more. And, of course, all of the hottest topics that you can possibly have on Moneyline today. The Knicks and the Pacers last night. You have another NBA game on tap today. Could be closing time in OKC going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves and a lot of other interesting topics, which includes talking about the NFL. Understand this, and I continue to harp on this. Today is May the 28th. And it's freezing cold in the Northeast. I mean, look, I'm going to harp on that the entire way because it's affecting the way I like to handicap Major League Baseball games. We're supposed to have warmer temperatures in most areas here. Now, as we step forward, tomorrow's the 29th, this weekend, on the 1st of the month, which will be Sunday. That is June. Next week, we'll be in the month of June. The next week after that is midway through June. The reason I'm saying this is I can't remember an offseason in the NFL that has moved faster for me. And I can also include college football as well. Usually it's like the dark days, like after the Super Bowl, what are you going to do when it's Major League Baseball and you got to hang in there? And, oh, no, the early months of, July, which has the All-Star break. I mean, we're still going to go through that a little bit. But I got, football is July. And next week is June. We have one more month to go, and we were back in football. Are you guys ready for that? I'm energized and excited, but it just feels like to me the Philadelphia Eagles were pasting the Kansas City Chiefs in New Orleans and walking off being another Super Bowl trophy for the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, I can't wait, but I sort of can wait, if that makes sense. And for me, like, growing up as a kid, and some of you out here probably think differently still today, I count down the days of summer, not to summer. Count down the days until we get to September, which is my favorite month ever. The weather eventually starts to cool off. The leaves start to fall off the trees. It just feels like football. Thanksgiving is awesome. Halloween is awesome. Christmas is great. And heading into the new year, which means playoffs in both college football and also the NFL. So I always like to step back and take that primer right now and say, oh my goodness, like it is almost football season. And that's true. And also the NFL is giving us some meat on the bone right now, which if you do just want to have the daily saga of the Pittsburgh Steelers and also Aaron Rodgers and is he going to join the team? Like I'm going to go right now to Pro Football Focus because I just want to take a look. Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're going to go to their roster right now. Not the starting lineup, just the roster. Quarterback room, Will Howard. Okay, see how that plans out here. Young quarterback, Ohio State. Mason Rudolph. Didn't work all that well last time he was around. The start out of Oklahoma State, made a playoff run there, but not a great quarterback. Skylar Thompson. How does that move you? It doesn't. That's the only 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Are you telling me right now the Pittsburgh Steelers will be willing to go into next season with just Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and Skylar Thompson? We all know that's not going to happen. They're not looking to add another veteran quarterback outside of Aaron Rodgers, who will be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And say, well, Donnie, why are we bringing this up? Well, Terry Bradshaw, known all-time great of the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback in the 1970s with that team that won multiple Super Bowl championships in the 70s alone, he says, yeah, it's ridiculous. What are the Pittsburgh Steelers doing? And I would agree. Not because they're getting Aaron Rodgers, but the simple fact that we're actually getting Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't want to be in camp or be with his football team, but is going to collect a paycheck, then pay for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are we doing, Steelers? What are we doing? Like, are you telling me that you have a handshake agreement with Aaron Rodgers that dates back weeks and weeks and weeks that, you know what, I'll be your quarterback. I'm just not showing up for OTAs. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't. Like either you want to be there or you don't. Going through this with a family member or this and that. You don't. This isn't back with Green Bay. It's like, hey, man, I've been here 15 years. I know the playbook like the back of my hand. I live here. Whether I show up to OTAs has no bearing on what success we're going to have in the regular season. It does. It does in Pittsburgh. You don't know this team. You don't know the playbook. You don't know the players. Come on. But if anybody thinks out there that Aaron Rodgers is still making a decision on his future, the Steelers have already told you what his decision actually is. Skylar Thompson, Mason Rudolph, Will Howard. That is not your quarterbacks that will be playing football this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which means they already have it on a limb right now that it will be Aaron Rodgers. The question is, they're in OTAs. When does he show up? Did he tell him he'd be there in July? For the start of training camp? Did he tell him he would be there in mid-June? Did he tell him he had a vacation? He had to go visit the pyramids? Was it ayahuasca? We don't know what it is at this point right now. Crazy. Jordan P. out in the chat box. What's up, man? Getting after it and having some fun. But just clearing these hot topics out for the day, which, again, just gets me so fired up that football season is right around the corner, which then says also, you remember the Atlanta Falcons? Hey, our quarterback situation seems pretty good. We would love to have Kirk Cousins come as a backup quarterback next year, making $50 to $60 million. Nobody buys that, and they still don't buy it. Why? Because Kirk Cousins hasn't showed up to OTA. If they're so invested in their backup quarterback and everything is hunky-dory and it's just fine with Kirk Cousins here, Michael Penix, they're telling you it's not. Because this is not because Kirk Cousins doesn't want to show up to the practice facility. They just don't want the headaches of Kirk Cousins showing up to the practice facility, and they have to answer more questions about, was Kirk Cousins going to battle for a starting job? Is it Michael Penix's job? You get the picture, right? And I brought it with Ben today on the early line when we were talking about way back in the day, it feels like now, when Aaron Rodgers showed up to Green Bay and was the backup quarterback for all those years to Brett Favre. When it was finally time to turn the page, which every year, Brett Favre did the same thing. I don't know if I might retire this year, only to come back weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks after, the season ended. You know what? I'll give it another round. Well, finally, the Green Bay Packers like, all right, we're making the transition, and we are starting Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback. We expected you to retire. And Brett Favre gets on a plane from Mississippi and tries to fly up there to Green Bay. And by the time he basically hit the tarmac, he was traded to the New York Jets. Why? not because the Jets' hand were forced, which it was. They needed the starting quarterback, but because the Green Bay Packers could not absolutely deal with that quarterback controversy of Brett Favre showing up to camp when they already told him he wasn't going to be the starting quarterback. They thought he retired, and it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. You don't want that in Atlanta. Your only goal this year is to see if Michael Penix is your franchise quarterback and if you can win 8 or 9 games to keep yourself in that divisional race. It has nothing to do with Kirk Cousins. And the fact that they tried to sell you this entire offseason, we're fine with a massively overpriced backup quarterback that will never see the field, and any team will be lucky to have him. Yeah, good luck with that. You should just cut him, move on, pay the freight, eat the dead cap space, the guaranteed money, and all that, and say, you know what, Michael Penix, you're our guy no matter what at this point. And we'll see how that one turns on his head. But just talking NFL action, like, James Cook not showing up to OTAs, we are getting so close. Like, what? You know what? Let me just take a look here. NFL training camp starts. Let's see. Who's the first in the building? I just want to, let's get after it here. Off-season workout dates, training camp. Where is it at here? Training camp start dates there. Oh, this is 2024, man. Come on now. We need a 2025. So let me see what the NFL is saying about this. I don't know if they're going to have it all listed on one page, but it's got to be early, people. It's got to be early. OTAs. First day, it doesn't show the actual official start of training camp there. But it's coming in July. I can't wait to watch it. Your boy DRS on a solo mission. Let's flip it over to baseball next.
Boys of summer have returned and taken the field for the great American pastime. You should monetize that. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
With the Sports Grid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. This update brought to you by Wendy's. Southwest Airlines is going to start charging for checked bags beginning today. The airline has offered travelers 2 free checked bags for 30 years. Southwest said Tuesday that it will be charging $35 for a first checked bag and $45 for a second checked bag. Weight and size limits will apply for bags. If you join Southwest's loyalty program or pay a business fare, you won't have to pay. Republican U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, who entered politics after a successful career as a head football coach at Auburn and 3 other major college programs, announced Tuesday that he is running for governor of Alabama next year. Tuberville is expected to be a formidable entry into the race to succeed Republican Governor Kay Ivey, who cannot run again because of term limits. Tuberville made the announcement Tuesday in front of his family and friends at an Auburn barbecue restaurant. I'm Trey Westerberg with the Sports Grid News Flash.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You don't have to sink a 30-footer from the end of your driveway to come out of the NBA playoffs smelling like a rose. Sports Grid brings you all the angles, insights, and odds.
And more to make you a winner.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
RBI market was good to us last night, guys. 6 RBIs I put out, 3 of them hit. One was a plus 215, one was a plus 160, and one was a plus 175. That's the good part about the RBI market. You're dealing with plus money numbers. I did use them in a round robin times 2, and it worked out in my favor last night. So profitable last night on a Tuesday night. Looking to turn that over on a Wednesday with a lot of afternoon Major League Baseball action. Now understand this as well as we talk baseball. I haven't been happy this season with the weather conditions, and specifically today. Like, I'm looking right at my watch right now. It's 53 degrees here in southern New Jersey. I'm maybe about a half hour away from Philadelphia at this point, which the Phillies are supposed to play tonight against the Atlanta Braves, a game they won yesterday 2-0. An impressive performance for Ranger Suarez. And also on the other side, Spencer Strider was good. but no offense whatsoever for the Atlanta Braves. They just couldn't get a base hit with runners in scoring position. But you just take a look at, like, we're expecting to be high 60s at a minimum, low 70s, the wind's blowing out, and that's what we love. Like, looking at the weather forecast today, let me just bring up the weather report in most of these cities here. Like Twins and Tampa Bay, like, that's great. That's in Tampa. It's 90 degrees with the wind blowing out. It's a 1 o'clock start. We'll get to the handicaps in just a second. That's all fine and good. Dodgers and the Guardians, 60 degrees at first pitch, rain in the forecast all the way through. The Giants in Detroit, which again is going to be played in Detroit, 57 degrees with rain coming in as about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in that range, if the game does take that long. But again, 58 degrees. Milwaukee's playing at home today, but they're in a dome. The Mets are at home today. And I thought JY was saying, like, this was supposed to be a night game that was bumped up to a 1 o'clock game. I don't know if that's correct or not, if they were always supposed to be a 1 o'clock game, but 65-degree temperatures, that's okay. And you take a look at that, rain in the forecast a little bit later, which is probably why they moved it up, if that's even the case. I'm just going off secondhand knowledge at this point. Astros in the dome, Diamondbacks in the dome, Padres on the West Coast, 68-degree temperatures, you'll be fine there. But Baltimore also going to play tonight. 62 degrees at first pitch, rain in the forecast all the way throughout the night, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in off of the warehouse in right field. The Philadelphia Phillies game, as I told you, first pitch expected to be tonight. That's at 6:45. 58-degree temperatures and complete rain in the forecast. I don't think that game plays today. We'll still handicap it and go over it. The Kansas City Royals. Hey, look at that. At least a 69-degree temperature, something we can bite off of. Rain might be creeping into the forecast late in that game, but at least it's something you can dig into. The Chicago Cubs seem like they're blanketed in just cold weather conditions and a wind blowing in nonstop at Wrigley Field. 52 degrees at first pitch, 6-mile-an-hour winds blowing in. And then who else is here? Texas Rangers, they'll be in a dome. Angels out on the West Coast against the Yankees. That's decent weather conditions there. But see, like, the last thing we should be worried about in late May, as Darren Filippi comes in here, says, hello, what's up? Hello, everybody in the chat box. By the way, if you hear me giving a shout out to the chat box, it's easy to watch the show live on radio. Live with Restream. It's Sports Grid On Demand on YouTube. It's 3 words. Sports Grid On Demand. 3 words. Type it in. Find the live shoot. Get in here. Say hello. Hit the chat box. Hit the thumbs up button. Say hello. Get in here and have some fun. And Go Fast Troy says they moved the Mets start time yesterday. See, there it was. Like, I wasn't paying attention yesterday. But JY came on with us today and gave that knowledgeable little token of information to us, which is interesting, where they knew the rain was coming in, the cold weather. The Philadelphia Phillies probably should have done that. But again, it's raining right now, and it's freezing here in southern New Jersey. Now, if we're taking a look at what worked yesterday, which trying to find that groove, profitable yesterday, we'll take it and roll it over. RBI props have always been that way. But if we look at the card from yesterday itself, let me just bring up the scores. Because there were some options where I'm saying, like, okay, the RBI games that you liked yesterday, like, were you able to be successful and did you bet into it and do all that? Dodgers and the Guardians didn't really have a great feel for that game. So I left that alone. It ended up at 9-5. My goodness, man, why am I getting so many drop downs here? I'm just trying to read some scores here at ESPN. It's not the madness off. The Cardinals hammered the Orioles, who were just in such a bad way. Didn't love that from a perspective. But my guy Mason Wynn, of course, I think he had a multiple RBI game a day before. We would have loved to have seen that. The Tigers handling the Giants 3-1. Wasn't in love with that game overall, per se. The Phillies and the Braves had no action in that game. Twins-Rays, was thinking about maybe a fade of Taj Bradley, and the Twins won that game, but only scored 4 runs. Not a lot of players I loved. The New York Mets, 6-4 over the White Sox. Supposed to happen because they're a better team than the White Sox. The Brewers, 5-1 over the Red Sox. That was 6 runs, but that was a walk-off grand slam by Kristen Yelich yesterday in extra innings. The Reds and the Royals, I wanted Vinny Pasquantino, one of my favorite hitters yesterday on the card. He didn't even get a base hit yesterday. 0 for 3. Brady Singer out there, 7 innings, pitched 2 earned runs. Say it ain't so at that point. Kyle Isbell was close to making my card yesterday. He did get an RBI, but sort of backed off there. The Astros 11-1 over the Athletics didn't like that game all that much. And one other guy I loved yesterday too was Goldschmidt for the Yankees. Didn't do anything yesterday. Fernando Tatis yesterday came through for us here. The Pirates and the Diamondbacks, no action there. And then the Mariners late night last night. I did really like that game. Mitchell Parker just serving up meatballs left and right. J.P. Crawford, which the guys I had circled. Crawford at the beginning of the lineup probably wasn't going to take him, but he did get the RBI. Loved Julio Rodriguez. I mean, the guy ends up with a home run and 3 RBI yesterday. Cal Raleigh, 2 RBIs on 2 home runs yesterday. So an impressive start here for the Mariners, now sit at 30-23. That was one of those games I was looking at, but no real weather conditions per se in all those cities. And again, Cashing tickets in the RBI market at plus 215, plus 160, and plus 175. Always good. But now we take a look at today's card, right? And the games are going to start earlier. But again, most of these weather condition games you're going to have to deal with. There's no weather that we need to deal with in Tampa other than the heat and humidity, which is great. Lopez has been fantastic on this Major League Baseball season. He's got an 80 xFIP number on the season, an ERA of 2.31, and an xFIP number of 3.25. That xFIP minus of 80, sensational here. You take a look at Rasmussen on the other side. But Rasmussen, guys, on the season, an 86 xFIP minus and an ERA of 2.60, which leads us to a 3.51 xFIP number. Now, if I type in Rasmussen here, just to try to get some individual statistics on him, let's see, not Ram, Drew Rasmussen. There we go. Tampa Bay, because I just want to see his splits factor to see what he's been doing over the past couple weeks here. Weighted on base percentage against on the season, very good. He's been on point. Home and away games, weighted on base percentage, on point here. In March and April, a 248 weighted on base percentage against, only a 305 in the month of May. But if you are looking at xFIP numbers, manageable for both lefties and righties. Home and away, not really two crazy different splits. Away righties really getting the best of them, but it's hard to get into that number, right? Are we just fading the ballpark with Minnesota and Tampa Bay today? 8 as a total with those type of weather conditions? Game probably stays under the total. It's a shame that game is going to be wasted. We're going to hit every card on today's slate. Coming up next, right here on Moneyline, it's your boy DRS.
Stamping out the boredom in baseball year after year. We bring you all the angles, insights, and information you need. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1951, after going 0 for 12, Willie Mays connects for his first Major League home run. In 1968, the American League announces it's splitting into 2 divisions. The Yankees, Orioles, Tigers, Indians, and Washington Senators will be in the East, while the West consisted of the Twins, A's, Angels, Royals, White Sox, and Seattle Pilots. For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Flying construction robots, coming soon to a building site near you. Swiss researchers have found that precision flying construction robot drones, similar technology to that used to create those beautiful synchronized aerial displays, can be used to precisely position large objects, assisting construction workers at great heights. Synchronized drone swarms autonomously constructing entire buildings in remote locations, hazardous conditions, even cutting down on construction accidents. Ouch. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Moneyline.
Would you take the Braves to win the NL East? They were 5.5 games back. And I said no. Now they're 8.5 games back with Strider back and also with Ronald Acuna. Things certainly haven't turned the direction, but they can only dig themselves out by winning series and just sort of slow playing it. Hey, you're back 8.5 games. Why not by the time mid-June you're back 6.5 games? By the time you hit the All-Star break, it's 4.5 games. That's what you have to do.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network. In baseball, a batter gets 3 strikes. In sports gaming, you get 1. No do-overs. You need all the help you can get. And that's what you get with us, your trusted source for gaming odds and more. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
AOD's out here in the chat box. You're having some fun. If you want to get on the chat box, Sports Grid On Demand, the best way to watch the radio show. But if not, you are listening on SiriusXM channel 159 or on the Sports Grid app. All great places to watch, listen, learn, and most importantly, have some fun. So a question was asked here in the chat box for Go Fast Troy. Twins home run props today. Just bring up the Twins card here, as that game is a 110 start. Pablo Lopez, pitching for the Minnesota Twins, as we told you. Fantastic pitcher. I'm not fading him in any way, shape, or form, even though it's such a great ballpark for home runs. And a couple guys in that lineup, which include Lowe, Lau. Always fun to have 2 of those guys. Actually, by the way, are they both Lau? Lowe and Lau? Or Lau and Lau? Because I know Lowe left for Texas, but now we have Josh Lau, Brandon Lau. I don't care how you say their names. It's all ridiculous that they're different. Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, and Junior Caminero. All really good ISO power numbers and weighted on base percentages. But again, we're not fading any parts of Pablo in this game. Drew Rasmussen on the other side, and you look at him too. It's like, okay, last 30 days action, what has he done? He's a little bit leaky to left-handed batters, which leaves us with Trevor Larnach. And also, oh, you know what? Oh, there you go. Cody Clemens is still in the lineup. So he's 6 now instead of hitting a little bit higher. Cody Clemens and Trevor Larnach probably would be my guesses, but I won't be playing those just because I don't love the matchup initially. Like Rasmussen, again, as I told you, 52 left-handed batters he's faced over the past month, and they've got some pretty good statistics against them. But still, those xFIP numbers are a little bit low. But if you're just fading the ballpark atmosphere, 91 degrees at first pitch, 9 mile an hour blowing out, those would be my 2 guys. Looking lefties here. You know, Brooks Lee has a 172 ISO, but not a great weighted on base percentage. Rest of the guys really right-handed batters. Like Jeffress has pretty good statistics, but Larnach and also Cody Clemens, probably chances for RBI and or home runs might make a little bit of sense there. Other 1-10 start today. That's the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Cleveland Guardians, who popped off last night for 15 total runs. Again, rain in the forecast, cooler temperatures, but a wind that is blowing out to left field. Clayton Kershaw's on the mound, who hasn't been all that good, but he's only faced 26 batters. Who do you trust in that lineup today for the Cleveland Guardians against lefties? They haven't been all that great. Like Juan, you could probably look at a base hit. Jose Ramirez might be the best of it. A 250 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 550. But also, he'll be a right-handed bat today. Most of them will be right-handed bats. Outside of Schneemann and also Kwan, everybody will be righties. Like, you should get runs, but again, we're not in optimum situations here. We're just not. Like, if the temperature was 69 degrees and wind blowing out to left and no rain, like, yeah, man, let's go. Like, let's go Guardians. You scored 5 last night. No reason you can't get 5 runs today. Then look at the Dodgers lineup, which always looks good every day. Andy Pages, Tommy Edmonds, and Mookie Betts. Not necessarily great numbers against left-handed pitching, which would be Kobe Allard today. But Allard threw 46 batters over his last 30 days. Has some good numbers, just doesn't strike anybody out. Like, we should get runs in Cleveland. But I won't have any of these statistics. I'm not betting anything in these games. I'm tired of losing on, hey, man, 51 degrees and rain. What did you expect? Yeah, exactly. Let's get some warmer temperatures out here. Vic Ferrari, let me get that banger MLB parlay today, Donnie. We'll see if we can cook something up. And Francisco Carrasco, yo, DRS. Hey, Francisco, what's up, brother? Mets game, which again was moved up to 1 o'clock, Chicago White Sox. 67, 68. I don't know, is that even the right temperature? Like, how could it be 68 in New York and 54 right now in Philadelphia? I'm not even buying into those weather conditions. Maybe they were already from tonight's game they were anticipating at this point, being a little bit warmer because it's freezing. Shane Smith is on the mound today. And if you look at Shane Smith's statistics, 114 batters he's faced over the past 30 days. Where you at, Shane? 11th on the card at a 29, at a 98 xFIP minus, and an ERA of 2.36. Now, let me just see what my guy's been doing here. So I'm going to type in Shane Smith, and we're going to go to his last 30 days here. Because sometimes the eyes deceive you, Chico, as we like to say. Let's get the numbers here. We'll go to splits. Great weighted on base percentage for both lefties and righties. Home and away, decent. 260 at home at a weighted on base percentage against 291 on the road, which is a little bit elevated. Away to right-handed batters of 310, which we're not even talking above average here. And by the way, his weighted on base percentage against in March and April, 267 elite. In May, 288. That's an elite price point here. xFIP is a little bit higher to lefties on the season at a 4.50, which just means the strikeouts necessarily aren't really where they need to be. Lefties on the road, 3.63 xFIP. Righties on the road, 3.71. So it's not something I like that Mets lineup, but not against Shane Smith. And again, the temperature's probably going to be a little bit cooler. Griffin Canning has actually had himself a pretty good season so far. 7th on the card today with a 98 xFIP minus and a 288 ERA. Just not digging it, man. Just not digging. Even though that lineup today actually looks decent for the Chicago White Sox, which is crazy to say. I had Vargas last night. First at bat, bang! 2-run home run last night. He's got great numbers. So does Mike Tauchman. But again, going up against Griffin Canning, just don't know if it makes a lot of sense at this point right now. Aye, some wasted games will continue to beat down the path here in Major League Baseball.
The NBA playoffs.
It all comes down to this.
And we'll give you all the angles to make sure you win a little something something. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Tyrese Halliburton had a triple-double, leading the Pacers past the Knicks 130-121 Tuesday night to take a 3-1 lead in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. Halliburton became the first player in postseason history with at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds with no turnovers in a game since turnovers were first tracked starting in 1977. Only Nikola Jokic and James Harden have accomplished that feat in the regular season. Pascal Siakam added 30 points, while Halliburton had 4 steals in his second career postseason triple-double. Obi Toppin's three-pointer with 46 seconds left on the clock sealed the win. Indiana hasn't lost consecutive games since March the 10th. Jalen Brunson had 31 points for the Knicks, who will look to stay alive at home. Game 5 is Thursday night at Madison Square Garden. West Final tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder lead the T-Wolves 3-1. Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive.
That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single-line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out?
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Let's keep it real.
Baseball can be boring.
That's where Sports Grid comes in.
Nothing livens up those 9 innings like sports gaming. You might experience something you've never felt in a baseball game, a quickened pulse. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Not that excited, people, so far with the games that we've been getting kicked out right now, Major League Baseball, mainly because of the weather conditions in many of these cities. One weather condition area we won't be worried about in 1 o'clock start. That's Boston and Milwaukee. Why? Milwaukee's got a dome, so we can take out the if it was outdoors 60 degrees and rain expected in Milwaukee today. But as we said, it's in a dome. We're not going to worry about that. Bello is on the mound, not Bello. Freddie Peralta's on the mound today for the Brewers, and he's had some pretty good statistics. However, if we look at the numbers, a 104 xFIP minus on the season for Freddie Peralta, that cat matches up with a 2.55 ERA, but his xFIP number is higher at a 4.13, getting him in a little bit of trouble. 21st on the card today is Brian Bello. 108 xFIP minus, a 4 ERA, but a 4.38 xFIP number. So if we're probably more focused, let's just say, on Brian Bello, his last 30 days, 112 batters he's faced, his ISO power numbers are down. So not giving up a lot of extra base hits per se, but his weighted on base percentage, 353 overall, which is equal. Lefties, 342, righties, a 367. The only issue, again, is you have to match up the batters, right? Last 30 days for the Milwaukee Brewers against right-handed pitching, not very good. Like William Contreras, decent numbers of 363 weighted on base percentage, but he's the highest on the team, and by a wide margin, everybody else is low. So as much as you just would want to fade Brian Bello, I understand. Let me just take a look, too. Because every once in a while, you like to see that season-long statistics, but get those individual splits for a pitcher. Fangraphs does it very well. They got a splits tool where it just lines you up on everything you need to know for this season. Now, weighted on base percentage against Bello this year, 377 to lefties, 343 to righties. That's high in both equations. 111 batters he's faced from the left-hand side, 67 batters from the right-hand side. So you got a pretty good sample size. At home, he's got a 360 weighted on base percentage against. How about on the road, guys? 376. You take a look at him on the road, 375 weighted on base percentage to lefties, 380 to righties. All of this elevated. Weighted on base percentage in the month of March and April against at 392. It has dipped just a little bit lower, though. There were 354 in the month of May. But the first half of the Major League Baseball season, that's a 364 weighted on base percentage. That's really high. If we look at the xFIP numbers on the season against Bello, he's elevated against lefties at a 4.62. That's important. Away, also a higher xFIP than at home. Away on the road, a 4.57 to lefties, but a 3.55 to righties. The reason I'm bringing this up is you want to look at his xFIP number, which was much higher in the month of March and April than it is May. March and April is a 4.89 in totality between lefties and righties. In May, that's down to a 376. But also, if you're looking at lefties given primarily the most damage, it would, like Yelich walked it off last night with a grand slam. You love to see that. Catches a home run prop, your bases prop, your RBI prop, whatever you have in here, just the way it is. But he's the only batter like I would even look at, and I'm not even taking it. And again, this game is indoors. We're not worried about outdoors and rainy, cold conditions here. As the X-Man showing up here in the chat box, Francisco Carrasco says, Cubs over team total. And Aaron showing F Boston for blowing my alt team total parlay. Yeah, tough scene yesterday, specifically when you get in the extra innings. X-Man says, y'all know we in here. We do. Scared money don't make any money. That is correct as well. Words to live by from the X-Man here out in the chat box. Landon Raupp's on the mound today for San Francisco. He's got some pretty decent statistics. There are lefties that can hit Landon Raupp in the lineup today. However, 57 degrees in Detroit, pitcher's ballpark, wind blowing in from right. Just horrible conditions, specifically for a left-handed batting team that if you pull a baseball, you're driving it into the teeth of the wind. Granted, 9 to 10 miles an hour isn't the end-all, be-all. And nobody get a base hit in that weather, Donnie. No, that's not correct, and we know that. But let me just take a look at Raupp, who does have some decent statistics. On the season, let me see if I can find him here. 8th on the card today out of 29 pitchers at a 93 xFIP minus and a 3.63 ERA, but a 3.68 xFIP number. Now, since this number's changed at all, ROUPP is the name. Let's get his splits here for the past 30 days to see if anything adds up. Season-long statistics, weighted on base percentage, very good. Raupp is on the road in Detroit. He's got good numbers away, which are actually, I shouldn't say good numbers, average numbers on the road. 355 weighted on base percentage against in the first 2 months of the season, which again, it's like a week in March and April. But in May, that's down to a 278. His xFIP numbers on the season, much higher to lefties than righties. He's been darn right fantastic against right-handed batters. On the road, his xFIP is a 4.79 to lefties. At home, it's a 3.83. So not really too much damage you want to do in this game, even though, like Carpenter, Keith, and Green, if the weather conditions were 68 degrees instead of 58, and instead of a wind blowing in from right field, it was blowing out, Carpenter, Green, and Keith would be on my card today. But as I said again, just the weather conditions are bad. Why do this to yourself? Like, nobody likes to play baseball in the mid-50s and rainy temperatures, possibly with the wind blowing in. Nobody does. I'm not saying Raupp's going to go out there and absolutely dominate, because those three batters I just said should do some damage today, but I just can't take them. It's just not good enough. The numbers just don't add up. So if we look at the Dodgers and the Guardians, the White Sox and the Mets, Boston and Milwaukee, San Francisco and Detroit, and the only game that you can absolutely say, I'm getting great hitting conditions, is a game where the pitchers might be really good. And that's Pablo Lopez going up against Rasmussen, Tampa Bay and Minnesota. So the 1 o'clock games seem like, to me, just might be a washout at this point. It's crazy how it lines up like this. Sometimes it's like, man, you got all these games in the afternoon. We don't love something. Now, granted, you'll see the Dodgers pop 7 runs on the board, and the New York Mets break it open, and Christian Yelich is going to hit 2 home runs today. You know how the feeling is. But I don't want to force it. Had a winning day last night. We want to make sure we make the best possible responses today for a back-to-back winning day here. The Athletics taking on Houston today. Luis Severino is on the mound. And if we look at Severino's statistics through the first half of the season, he is 12th on the card today out of 29 pitchers, a 99 xFIP minus, an ERA rated 4, but an xFIP number at 4.03. So not a great pitcher, but doesn't have statistics where it's like, man, I really got to fade this guy. The one thing he doesn't do well is strike guys out, and that could get you into trouble. Jose Altuve, a couple 2-run home run games in the past week or so, starting to elevate his statistics here. But against right-handed pitching, the Astros have done very, very well this season. Outside of Jose Altuve with a 304 weighted on base percentage, everybody's 309 or higher. Like every single player in that lineup today that we anticipate. I don't have the official starting lineups out just yet. I'll refresh them at the commercial break. They should hit today. They really should. So let's take a look at Luis Severino, because the one thing that we know about him is that he plays in one of the ultimate hitting ballparks in Major League Baseball out there in Sacramento. So if we go, okay, Luis, let's see, Severino. Let's see where his numbers come in at. Let's go to his splits package. Weighted on base percentage against on the season is actually decent. It's a little bit elevated to lefties, but sensational against righties. Now, home, he's got a 337 weighted on base percentage against. On the road, guys, that's a 224. That's a huge drop and a huge difference. If you look at Weighted on base percentage at home to lefties, it's 333. To righties on the road, it's 308. And how about right-handed bats? At home, which again, the ultimate hitter's ballpark right now, feels like outside of Coors, is Sacramento, 340 to righties. On the road, 153. 153! Now let's slide it down here and take a look at some of those xFIP numbers here on the season. Both lefties and righties are about at 4. Not disastrous, not dangerous. The road, 364 to lefties, 445 to righties. So again, if you were just saying to yourself, I got to get some action today, a sneaky team total probably would be on the Astros because of how well they hit right-handed pitching, but it just doesn't feel like the right play in this game. Lance McCullers, however, on the other side, may be something we can dip into. Because even though we have limited innings for McCullers, only 67 total batters that he's faced on the season, he's the worst pitcher on the card today with a 130 xFIP minus and a 5.23 xFIP number, an ERA over 6.5. Here's the issue. That lineup stinks for the A's. Outside of maybe one batter going up against right-handed pitching, maybe you could put in Jacob Wilson there with a high weighted on base percentage, but doesn't really hit for all that much power. It's Butler and Wilson, a lefty and a righty. Now, on the season, Lance McCullers has handled lefties well, at least with ISO and weighted on base percentage. Righties is a different story. So Jacob Wilson without a high ISO power number to weighted on base percentage, frustrating right now. We can't match up anything great. Let's continue on the night card here. See what we get out of that. And a couple more day games left. It's your boy DRS, Solo Mission.
By the end, you might not have a ring on your finger. Stay tuned and you'll have a little something in your pocket. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Stanley Cup Playoffs West Final. The Edmonton Oilers beat the Dallas Stars 4-1 last night to take a 3-1 series lead. Corey Perry's power play goal put the Oilers ahead 9:20 into the second period. 28 saves in net for Stuart Skinner. Jason Robertson scored the only goal for Dallas. That came on the power play in the second. The Stars will look to stay alive Thursday night at home in Game 5. Tonight, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 5. The defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers up 3-1 over the Carolina Hurricanes. Tonight's matchup is in Raleigh. NBA playoffs last night. The Pacers beat the Knicks 130-121 to go up 3-1 in the East Final. Tyrese Halliburton had a triple-double. West Final Game 5 tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder lead the T-Wolves 3-1.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Something amazing is happening here. Scientists are using AI to study how whales talk to each other. CDW experts can give researchers the power to process complex data with HP workstations, advanced by AMD Ryzen Threadripper Pro processors. With easier handling of AI workloads, your organization can bring powerful insights to the surface. Make amazing happen. HP, AMD, and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/HPAMD.
Springtime. When a young man's fancy turns to...
Get your mind out of the gutter.
For sports gaming strategies and information that gives you an unfair advantage, you'll find it all right here.
It's the winning edge.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Yeah, right back at it. Come on now, it's your DRS Solo Mission Wednesday. Hump Day, people. Kevin will get you tomorrow. I'll get you back on Friday right here on Moneyline as we set up the weekend here. A lot of good NBA action tonight. Maybe it's going to be a blowout for OKC. We'll find out. Enjoyed the game last night with the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. They'll play game number 5 in Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. And hopefully, I just want extended series. I want more things, more fun to talk about before we start to get to that slowdown in the summer months before the official kickoff of the NFL, which again comes in training camps. What do we start, like 15th, 16th, 17th for some rookies out there in camp? We're not far away. Next week is June, baby. Then it's July with football camps. Then all we can think about is the start of the college football season and the NFL season, and away we go. Love to see it. But anyway, Pittsburgh and Arizona, people, 3:40 today. Paul Skeens is on the mound. He's an underdog. What? Yeah, he's an underdog because his team stinks, not because he stinks. He's probably going to have 6 to 7 solid innings today and get nothing to show for it because his team can't hit. Paul Skeens, not fading him today. Love the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup, just not today against Paul Skeens. Zach Gallen on the opposite side has struggled with right-handed batters, particularly over the past 30 days. But who do you trust in that lineup? There's nobody to trust. Like, honestly, I just pulled up Zach Gallen's statistics for the season. To lefties, a .350 weighted on base percentage against. That's not normal, Zach Gallen. To righties, he's actually had that a little bit under control seasonally. At home, a weighted on base percentage against of .369. That's terrible. On the road, he's at a .265. So where you fade Zach Gallen typically now is at home. Home the lefties, .379. Home the righties, .358. They're all getting down on him, right? All beating him up. If we check out the analytical numbers, to lefties on the season, guys, a 5.03 xFIP number. To righties, it's a 3.47. So lefties is technically where you attack. If we look in the past month here, March and April, he had a 4.38 xFIP. In the month of May, it's a 4.15, so it does go down just a little bit. But if the question's going to be, like, who would you take? Like, O'Neal Cruz is really good. Outside of that, everybody stinks. Like, they might not strike out a ton on this roster, but how do you take anything? Like, we're letting it down. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games we've just hit today. And only one game pops up that is viable, and that's Tampa Bay and Minnesota. And you don't even have great pitching matchups to fade here. That's what stinks. All right, let's start to get moving. 4-10, that's Miami and San Diego. Heavy favor for the Padres, and rightfully so. Now, for the Padres today, Kyle Hart's on the mound. I mean, come on, he hasn't even thrown a pitch here in the last 30 days in Major League Baseball. On the season, he's a lefty that got blown away by right-handed batters. Now, let me do something. Where is Mr. Hart at? 26th on the card with a 122 xFIP minus number and a 6 ERA. Say, Donnie, how can we handle that? Because he hasn't pitched, it looks like, and I guess we can go to, let's do some background checks on Mr. Hart. All right, so we got Hart, first name Kyle, because I just want to see some of the game logs that he's under here. So last time he pitched in Major League Baseball was 423, so just over a month ago. He went 4 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 2 earned runs, which included 2 home runs. So his last 2 starts in Major League Baseball, he had 4 total home runs given up. And the game previous before that on the road at Houston, 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, and 5 earned runs. Not a great pitcher. So let me just see what he's doing in the minor leagues here. 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs last time out. 5 innings pitched, no earned runs. 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. You get the point. But that's AAA. Completely different than we see, obviously, in Major League Baseball. So let's get the splits here and see what he's been doing. Right-handed batters at the Major League Baseball level, guys, 456 weighted on base percentage against. It's astronomical. It just is. Now, he's pitching at home today. On the season, this is a 1.64 ERA at home and away at a 10.80. But, like, you see, like, oh, let's try to find a way to fade Kyle Hart, which is what we're doing. But here's a fade for yourself, Miami Marlins. I'm going to give you the ISO power numbers of the expected lineup today for the Marlins 1 through 9. And you tell me if it matters if who the pitcher's going to be or not at this point. Ramirez, 0. Wagaman, 118. Lopez, 0. Norby, 0. Stowers, 050. Fortes, 0. Simon, 0. Sanchez, 0. Sanoa, 0. You tell me where we're going in this lineup today. The best weighted on base percentage against left-handed pitching over the past month here for the Marlins is Norby at 302. You want me to read the rest? Because 302 is below average. You want that to be at least a 320 or higher. Let me read you the weighted on base percentages here of the Marlins. 134, 227, 077, 242, 132, 077, 214, and 057. Like, even if you want to fade Kyle Hart, you can't even do that today. That's how brutal it is. Now, we finally get a little bit of a reprieve here. And I'm going to tell you the name right now, which usually in the past, you'd stay away from. That's Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins. His last 30 days, 116 batters he's faced. A 235 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 402. Lefties crushing him. Righties crushing him. It doesn't matter. 24th out of 29 pitchers on the card today for Alcantara. He's got a 114 xFIP minus in 8 ERA coming into this game. So finally, we might have a little bit of room to breathe here with maybe an RBI prop that we like. Let's do some background checking here on our guy, Sandy Alcantara. If I look at his splits, because again, he's pitching in a pitcher's ballpark in San Diego, not nearly the pitcher's ballpark that you find in Miami. On the season, lefties a 374 weighted on base percentage against him, which is incredible. Now, here's the difference, guys. You ready? These are the numbers that we like. Sandy Alcantara at home, 31 and a third innings pitched in Miami, that big cavern. He's got a 5.74 ERA, which is bad, but a weighted on base percentage against only a 295. Look at the away numbers. 15 and two-thirds innings pitched, a 12.64 ERA, and a 444 weighted on base percentage, astronomically high. If you take a look at his splits on the season, right, through the month of April, 347 weighted on base percentage, which is bad. In the month of May, that elevates to a 359, even worse. If we're taking a look at his xFIP numbers, lefties, a 562 xFIP on the season against him, which is incredible. On the road, just going up against lefties and righties, that's a 512. To lefties on the road, 772. So if we're looking at possibilities of home run props and RBI props, like Luis Ariz is a lefty. He's probably always going to be there for us, right? Jackson Merrill struggled as of late, only a 318 weighted on base percentage. But look at Gavin Sheets, a 339 ISO, and Jake Cronenworth, a 268 ISO, both with high weighted on base percentages. Finally, 69 degrees, light wind blowing out to right field. Take the lefty bats today, going up against Sandy Alcantara. Sheets and Cronenworth, legitimate chances to hit home runs. Doesn't it feel good? Finally a spot with some decent batters. We'll shut it down next year, go over some final games right here on Moneyline.
We don't care what your high school girlfriend told you. You are a winner.
Or at least you will be if you keep it here.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The early line.
It's more of the starting pitching. Once you get to the playoffs, that's where you win. And the Dodgers at a plus 250 price. I don't care if the Dodgers lose 5 games in a row. What are they going to drop to plus 260? It doesn't matter. You're looking at what the anticipation is going to be in late September, early October with these baseball teams.
The Dodgers tied for the second best record around the NL.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network. If you want to be an alpha,
you've got to get the winning edge.
It's kind of a necessary ingredient if you want to lead the pack. So mark your territory.
With the winning edge.
You're in the big leagues. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Oh, yeah. Final segment of the day here on a Wednesday, hump day after Major League Baseball. Won't really be participating in any of the earlier games, but some options here as we start to go over. I told you San Diego looks like they have some pretty good bats that you can certainly follow. 6:35 and after card tonight. Baltimore, completely rainy conditions. Might be a rain out tonight in that game. No real faults. Kate Povich on the mound for one side, and Miles Michaelis has been very good as of late for St. Louis. Atlanta and Philadelphia, I don't know if that game's going to play. A.J. Smith-Shawver on the mound, going up against Zach Wheeler. Not in love with that game. Again, cold conditions, rainy conditions, wind blowing in, not advantageous. Cincinnati and Kansas City. Hunter Green is on the mound today going up against Kansas City. On the other side, is Noah Cameron. Don't know too much about him. I'll certainly dig into him a little bit later. Toronto and Texas. Down in Texas today, so it is a dome. Don't have to worry about any rainy conditions. Eric Lauer is on the mound today, and if we focus on him, 66 at-bats, batters that he's faced on the season. Where are you at, Eric Lauer? He is 23rd on the card, 22nd on the card, at 109 as an xFIP minus, but a low ERA. Some options could be Josh Jung and Jake Berger. Do I see Corey Seager making a shot back into the lineup here at this point as a possibility? That certainly could help out. Not in love with that game, but I'll see if once with the starting pitching comes out along with the bats here. The Colorado Rockies and the Chicago Cubs. Tanner Gordon is on the mound for the Rockies. Take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But again, in Chicago, 55-degree temperatures and a 5-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. Not a fantastic day, but there's a lot of great hitters. Pete Crow-Armstrong, Dansby Swanson, Matt Shaw, all with high numbers against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. And right-handed batters have gotten the best of Tanner Gordon so far. But he does have limited batters that he's faced. There might be some options in that game. For Colorado, though, against Matthew Boyd, where's Boyd at on the card? Boyd actually has a 97 xFIP minus and a 3.42 ERA. Some interesting guys there for the Rockies, but we'll see once that starting lineup comes out. The Yankees and the Angels late night tonight, 67 degrees at first pitch, wind blowing out to center field. Clark Schmidt has been pretty good on the mound. He's going up against Yusei Kikuchi, which that lineup for the Yankees looks good every night. We'll dip into that. Where's Kikuchi at? He's 23rd on the card today with a 112 xFIP minus, but a decent ERA of 3.17. Late night action tonight. Trevor Williams on the mound. I can't get enough. And that's the Seattle lineup, particularly the left-handed batters, which Trevor Williams on the season has struggled with left-handed batters. And you know the lefties on that team. J.P. Crawford, Jorge Polanco, Cal Raleigh on that team, Rowdy Tellez, all options here. Let me just do a quick look here, too, because Trevor Williams is coming in here at a 104 xFIP minus and a 6.39 ERA, which is elevated. Let's take a look at his individual splits, though. Let's see if we can get some impact on that. So we'll go Williams and Trevor. All right, Trevor, what do you got here today? Because yesterday was looking good for those Mariners, huh? Splits to lefties on the season, guys, a 435 weighted on base percentage. Ooh, that is juicy and high. On the road, his weighted on base percentage combined to lefties and righties at 367. On the road to lefties, 467. Weighted on base percentage against in May, 370. Oh, yeah, you know it tonight, man. Like, Polanco's weighted on base percentage isn't all that great against right-handed pitching. But my goodness, Cal Raleigh is just cracking it out here. Cracking it. He'll be a lefty tonight. He was smoking from the right-hand side yesterday with a couple home runs. Rowdy Tellez. So lefties will be in play tonight for the Washington Nationals, no doubt about it. Now, you know me. I like to put the card out. Follow me at RightSideVP on Twitter. When I have plays out tonight, I'll let you know. Francisco Carrasco, the DRS Village, let's make some money. Absolutely, man. Big Ferrari, everybody's out here. That's what we're doing. I love to see the tickets at RightSideVP. Show me what you're working with tonight. I got my plays I'm going to put out. Again, afternoon might be a little bit slow because it's freezing here in the Northeast and a ton of rain. But late night, we might have some action and maybe try to put together another round-robin RBI parlay, which is how we like to get down to. But also tonight, people, you got basketball. You got a high number here in Oklahoma City. Closing scenario. Oklahoma City wins. They get to the NBA Finals. To face either the Pacers, is what it looks like, or the New York Knicks. That line opened up at 8.5. It's sitting at 8 at some outlets, but majority of outlets at 8.5 still. That total, 220.5 at just about every outlet I'm looking at right now. The expectations are Oklahoma City is going to close out, but are you willing to take the Timberwolves tonight? Could they get a win the Force game number 6? I don't know if they can. Can they stay with the 8.5, or is it one of those where the dam breaks, man? Where it's just like, all right, down 7 at the end of the first, down 10 at the break, down 13 at the end of 3, and it's a runaway washout in the fourth quarter. It's almost like you're either taking like the Timberwolves to win this game or they get smoked. But we'll watch tonight, 8:30 p.m. at first tip time. Tomorrow, Kevin's going to have a solo mission. He's got you covered, and I'll be back on Friday with my own actual show and solo mission. For JP Behind the Wheels of Steel, it's your boy Donnie Rightside. Thank you for tuning into Moneyline, and we'll see you tomorrow.
What makes life
worth living. Actionable insights, analysis, odds, and expert perspective on sports gaming.